Hey, Alan, all yours.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for joining today's webcast. This is the first in a series of several webcasts that we'll be doing focused on enterprise service management. They're all going to be customer webcasts. And before I introduce our speaker, I'll give a little bit of background on this topic. We have looked at recently how our customer base for CA Service Management, CA Service Desk Manager are using the technologies. We did a community survey a couple months ago, and I think many of you have looked at that based on the number of people that have viewed it on the blog I put out there. But we've had some pretty interesting results from that, showing that 65% of the customer base is actually using the products outside of IT. They're also using it within IT as an IT service desk in many cases, but also external to IT, both internal to the organization in other departments like facilities, finance, and HR, as well as for external customer-facing applications. And some further statistics, about 21% were using it for external-facing applications, direct to their customers, and then 51% are using it internal. So overall, the mix, 65% using it for non-IT uses as well as IT uses. Some of the heavy hitters there, facilities was the largest, 39% of the organizations were using it for that. HR was the next, finance was the next, and audio-visual after that, and then others. So a lot of uses, and the reason this is, and if you look at what the industry analysts are saying and what's happening in the industry, there is a lot of enterprise service management going on. Forrester just put out a new wave report on enterprise service management. CA is ranked as a strong performer in that, actually right on the edge of being in the leader space on that. They understand this market pretty well. We're seeing a lot of organizations head in this direction because of the extra value you can get from the existing technology investments you've made by just expanding into other areas outside of IT with this. So we encourage you to attend these webcasts. We'll be having several customer webcasts pretty much each month here on the community where individual customers will be talking about how they're using the products both inside and outside of IT. And we also have a webcast on the 10th of October being done external to the community on our Break Talk channel, and I did advertise this, or I will be advertising it shortly in the community, where Pink Elephant will be talking about some of the data about this market trend. So we encourage you to stay with us here over the coming months as we do these webcasts. For today, we have Qaneet from Woolworths and all the way from South Africa. Qaneet has spoken at CA World and been involved with service management, especially CA service management, very integrally for many years. One of the most, I'll say, leading and mature organizational uses of ITSM and CA service management that I'm aware of. A lot of depth here. And what we'd like to have Qaneet do is speak about Woolworths, a little bit about their organization, a very impressive organization, very impressive use of our technologies, and then talk a little bit about how they're using the technology, outside of IT in helping some of their other departments and the actual stores that they have. So at this point, Chris, you want them entering questions in the Q&A tab, I assume, correct?
Yeah, we can use the Q&A, folks. Just be sure to ask your question of everyone, so we're sure to see it.
Yep, and we'll make sure that we address those questions at the end of the session. So, Qaneet, at this point, I'm going to turn it over to you and take it away, and we'll be back later. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Alan. Very humbled by that presentation and that summary, that synopsis of Woolworths and our maturity on the use of ITSM technologies. But on hearing that, if I just reflect quickly, I think we probably in our 7th or 8th year in partnering with CA Technologies. And in part of that reflection, we have such a massive service desk footprint in our organization that it would be near impossible to take it out and replace it with anything else that's out there on the market. And I'm going to get a little bit into some of the detail in terms of what we use it for. I have a very simple presentation because Philosophically, I hold the view that an incident is an incident, irrespective of whether it occurs within IT, within facilities, within an operational environment, or even if something happens in your personal life at home. And the exact same thing goes for problem, and the exact same thing goes for changes. Actually, the exact same behavior, the exact same pattern, the exact same process that gets followed, whether you're resolving an incident, as in restoring a service, looking at root cause analysis through problem management, or making a change, or bringing about a change through change management. So it's all identical processes, and the thought patterns are all the same. And I think on that basis, our business realized this very early on, about 6 years ago, and you'll see just to what extent we've embedded the CA service desk technology into our organization. So as Alan mentioned, Woolworths is a retailer in South Africa. We are by profitability, the second largest food retailer in South Africa. And I think with clothing and home and overall, we're kind of sitting in at number 3. We're catering mostly for, I'd say, upmarket retailer, so very fashion conscious from a clothing or fashion, beauty and home perspective, and focusing a lot on convenience and sort of value-added foods products. Currently, we're sitting on approximately 600 stores in the Southern Hemisphere. We've got 460 in South Africa and the rest of Africa, with 404 of them being in South Africa alone. And the 201 global stores, that's referring to what we have in Australia and in New Zealand. And that is with the group that we purchased over there a few years ago, the Country Road Group. We've got about 130 customer-facing or user-facing systems, plus all of our monitoring tools. You're looking at about 220, about 35,000 employees. We've got 8 distribution centers, and I'm speaking about the distribution centers now. And as I mentioned, we do foods, clothing, and general merchandise, and we do a bit of financial services as well. Very values-based organization, focusing a lot on value, giving customer consistently good product, good quality, and at a sort of I wouldn't say competitive, but at a reasonable price. And then from an IT point of view, in terms of service management, we pretty much an ITIL shop. So we adopted the ITIL best practices framework probably about 13 or 14 years ago. It's grown up a lot in our organization. We used to drive it bottom up, is now being driven top down through our CIO. And we've got various levels of, say, maturity across all of that, across all of the processes, but I think our strongest suite really being around service level management, incident, problem, change. We've busy maturing release and deployment a lot now through ARA, the CA tool ARA, and doing some service continuity management. But really, in terms of our service organization, we touch on all of these processes. We've implemented all of these processes, and they're running and have different levels of maturity throughout the organization, throughout the IT organization. Our service desk, that's what SD stands for, service desk. So our service is doing approximately 35,000 incident tickets per month. And of those, 7,000 are for facilities items, and I'll get to speaking about what the facilities are now. Our distribution centers log approximately 8,000 tickets per month, so that 35,000 is only for IT and facilities. It excludes the distribution centers, 8,000 tickets. And then we've got about 8 distribution centers throughout the country, and they're dispatching stock every single day to each one of our 408 South African stores, as well as to some of the Southern African stores. And then we're doing something in the region of about 50,000 calls into our help desk per month, and that is for anything around facilities, service requests, or just normal incidents. The next slide is my most boring slide. That's standard incident management process. And I think the context of this slide is that when our business took stock in terms of what we are doing for elevators breaking down, light bulbs not working, desk drawers getting stuck, people needing keys for their desk drawers, taps in our toilets not working, toilets getting clogged up, anything to do with facilities, anything non-IT, they realized that the best solution that we had, without setting up a department from scratch, and I mean, you were looking at quite a lot of calls per month. We have four buildings in our head office campus. The logical thing was to channel that through an existing entity that is built around or built on the principles of receiving hundreds of calls per day and being able to log requests for that and get those calls or those tickets to areas where things needed to be resolved. And in this case, we were talking purely IT. So you've got all these IT issues being logged with the help desk logs them on CA service desk, and then we route them off to the second line areas, second line support areas, whichever we couldn't resolve. So I think it was, I don't think they needed to think twice that that as a business we had a facility that was able to take in large amounts of calls, log whatever the problem was or the issue was, and then get that to a second line person that needed to resolve the issue. So our take on for all of our facility scores was we literally did it within a month. So as of today, all of our electrical, plumbing, furniture, elevators, access cards not working, any incident related to facilities, the management of the actual building is logged within CA Service Desk, and in CA Service Desk then through our service desk we route all of those incidents to our maintenance department to then pick up the incidents and then resolve them as occur. About 3 years ago, actually it was longer, but about 4 years ago we rolled out all of our new service requests onto our service catalog. And then we started building a catalog of services for facility type requests as well. So in this case, if people needed new chairs, we were already doing things like laptops and screens and keyboards. So we just included things like furniture, chairs, anything that was request-based. So request being defined as a user or a customer asking for something that they never had in the first place. And we started loading all of that out. So at this point in time, we're looking at about 7,000 to 8,000 tickets being logged per month, with probably roughly about 400 requests coming through our service desk for non-IT related services, which are all being facilitated or running through our CA service desk platform. And that, like I said, we track that fully completely with SLAs attached with the maintenance department. Although we're not held accountable for it, it's just our facility that's using it. The second one that I want to speak about is our DC help desk. So our distribution centers, if you work in supply chain, you know you've got, there's really two concepts in supply chain. It's warehousing, where stock is received from your supplier and you store the stock in your warehouse. And then as demand increases, you then dispatch from your warehouse, your distribution center, into your stores. The other concept is flow through. Everything that you receive today moves straight through the DC and it gets dispatched into stores. We generally do our foods items all as flow through and our clothing and long life foods items as warehouse and then sent through. So we've got roughly about 650 vehicles on the road every day delivering stock to stores. Our stores generally get their stock before they open for trade in the morning, which is anything between 8 and 9 o'clock in the mornings. And those 650 trucks normally arrive at the store before trade starts, because that stock needs to be unpacked off the truck, needs to be received onto the system, and then it needs to be packed onto the shelves. Any issues that occur between, so you're looking at quite a large logistics operation, first of all. And I mean, it's big in a South African context. It might not be big in a European or a North American context, but I think for South Africa, it's big in a South African context. And so you can imagine from a distribution center point of view, if anything went wrong at the receiving store, if one thing went wrong at the distribution center, how many stores would actually call in to the distribution center for issues related to I'm short delivered, my truck is late, the truck didn't arrive, the security seal was broken on the truck, there's a couple of lugs short, the truck was out of temperature, the stock was spoiled, the stock was damaged. There's a whole range of things, of issues that can happen from the DC, when the stock is dispatched or when it reaches the store. We assisted the distribution center business in building a help desk, an on-site help desk, and then each distribution center had its own help desk at that point in time. Set up the incident logging and the routing facility, as well as the second line support within the CA service desk database, and then stores started phoning into their local DC's distribution centers help desk to log any issues that they may have had with their delivery to their stores. And that's been working exceptionally well for the last 4 years. And we had it in very limited capacity at only some of our big DCs for 3 years prior to that. As of last year, we assisted the distribution center business unit or business division to centralize their help desk, so that instead of having a help desk, a local help desk at each distribution center in each province, they've now centralized their help desk operation into a single entity. And all stores, irrespective of where they are in the country, now call into the single help desk where all of the issues are logged on CA service desk. It then gets routed to the relevant DC, distribution center. And then from there, they pick it up and then they sort of resolve it to the store. At this point in time, we're looking at something like about 8 to 9, I think it's about 8 to 9,000 incidents per month. That we're doing, that the DCs are logging, and that's working exceptionally well. So that's just a very high-level explanation of what we've done. We've also assisted our HR department with the help desk, our business support for our clothing business and for our foods business. But I think when you run a help desk well, when you have a good tool that's facilitating or that's automating your help desk process, over the last 15 years, we've had 3 external help desks that have collapsed and eventually been absorbed, if I could say, into our IT help desk. And that is why the title of my presentation is sort of a business. It's a business help desk. Our IT help desk has actually become a business help desk, where you can phone in for any business-related problem, whether it's facilities, whether you're calling from a store and you have an issue with a DC with a store, head office with a DC with head office. It's a complete business help desk, and all of the interactions are, if anything that normally works, it doesn't work, we log requests, we log incident tickets for all those things, and you can basically, irrespective of which division you're sitting in, which department you're sitting in, can use the service catalog to request certain items from another department, another division. So if you're an application programmer, you can log a request to have an additional table built from a DBA. You can have a table added by DBA. You can ask for a chair at the same time. You can speak to the telephony guys about getting a new phone. You can get a monitor. You can get a keyboard. You can get your toilet unplugged. You can have a light bulb change. You can have light bulbs installed. So it's a complete service that we kind of do end to end. And if I just go to which is my final slide really, that it is fundamentally what we're following is just the standard textbook out of the box incident management process of a call comes in, the issue gets logged, the ticket gets logged, customer gets the ticket number, they get the email confirming everything, it gets sent to a second line team, and within the second line team, somebody then gets somebody resolves it. That end to end is the story. It's just what our journey's been on. Leaves us in a very, our CA service desk, believe it or not, is as big as our ERP system at this point in time, but just in terms of the footprint. and in terms of what it's facilitating. It's an entire DC operation. So you're looking at something like 12,000 staff members. And in addition to our 12,000 staff members, you've got the 18,000 that are working in our stores. So it's about 30,000 staff members where all the interactions for incidents are being logged by a CS service desk. So you've got entire business processes that are built on the automation that this tool's providing us. And that if we should take it out, if I just think about it, what the broader impact to the organization would be in terms of switching this tool off or having any instability or stability issues with the tool, the big impact and the rippling effect or impact that it will have on our organization is extremely huge. And I think from that point of view, we took a decision to tier the system as our top tier system. We now run it sort of in an HA configuration, active between two of our data centers, because we really can't afford for it to go down in terms of what it's facilitating and what it's automating. I think next stages for us now, we're going to be moving into the realm of triggering our disaster recovery via our service desk as well. I think at the high level, that is all that I actually want to say. Are there any questions at this point in time?
Okay. Well, thank you, Qaneet. This is Alan. There are a couple questions here, and I think you touched on this a little bit. Here's one. It's, have you had to do anything custom or different than what you did for IT, I guess that means for the IT service desk, to support these non-IT uses? So was there anything that you had to do customize, different, I assume different UIs or anything like that that you had to do to support these non-IT uses?
No, Alan. You know, it was actually easier to do this than it was to do for normal IT incidents. The business came to us with a problem. We gave them a solution. And there's a lot of things that work very well in my mind, and sort of when they go wrong by the time it comes out of my mouth. But so I don't always articulate this as well. But the thing is, IT's business, part of IT is the business of IT is to run a help desk. Right? You know, it's at the core of the BAU, the business as usual, or the run component of IT. So your help desk needs to be on point, it needs to be efficient, it needs to work well. Our business has gone on its own tangent to sort of mimic what the help desk does on many occasions, and eventually just collapsed entire departments and brought that operation into our help desk. It was much easier to do it from, and I think because the business came to us with a problem and we gave them the solution was very pragmatic. We gave them the simplest version of incident management, sort of the textbook version of incident management. So there was absolutely no customization we had to do. We never change any UIs. We get them to use our the web front end. So a lot of our stores are using the web front end to log the incidents, and then our help desk at our distribution centers are using the full fat client. But absolutely no customization on our side. This is not really customization, but the only thing, what was the most time consuming for us was to set up the categorization of incidents, which is something you do in any case, whether you're switching on incident management for IT or for non-IT. So it just meant we needed to bring a naming convention in that was traditionally not IT, but the ways and means around it was just to put that. I think we eventually put that into a separate table, which means those non-IT incidents are all written to a different table within the CA database. So we keep a separation at the database level between our IT incidents and our non-IT incidents. But a long-winded way of saying no customization.
Excellent, excellent. So then the next question would be, did you have to license additional service desk, service management software to do all this, or did this all fall right under your existing licenses as you moved into the non-IT use cases?
Yeah, if that's the question is referring to, did we have to get any additional plugins? No, we didn't. We were already licensed for asset management. The asset management component, we've got under our license agreement, we've got unlimited non-IT assets.
Okay.
And it's actually quite amazing what we've done with that. It's just triggered a thought now. I'm going to get to that now. And we've got 14,000. We license for, I think, 24,000 IT assets. So we put all our laptops and our PCs and our desktops and our point-of-sale devices on the IT asset side. On the non-IT asset side, it's actually crazy what we have there. We deliver all of our food stock in things, plastic, big plastic, like very durable, hard plastic trays called lugs. And these lugs are sort of stackable, and we always stack them at a height of 20, irrespective of what is in there. And then the lugs get packed in 4 stacks of 20 on something called a dolly, which is just sort of a platform with wheels. So when somebody walks into the distribution center and they see a dolly, they can rest assured that there's 80 lugs on there. And we distribute something like 750,000 lugs go from our foods DCs to our stores every single day. And we've added every one of those lugs into our service desk, into our asset management database. And if we want to log a call against any of the lugs, if lugs have gone missing or lugs are damaged, they can be found within the asset management database, which means we can then log a call against it. But like I said, we've already registered for asset management. That was just an additional value add that we could add to the service. It also gave our business on the side. I don't think they get any value from logging calls against the lug. Again, where they get the value is the fact that they have a record of every single lug. So they've got asset management. I'm just giving the lugs is just one example. They've put all of their non-IT assets into this database as well. And it basically gives them an asset management facility, which has been an added benefit of them partnering with us. So we didn't have to give them, build the asset management process and then get them another system for that. We just basically manage, they're using asset management to manage all of their facilities, equipment. So the generator, all of our UPSs in stores, our generators in stores are all items within the CA Asset Manager software.
Wow. I'm chuckling because I think you maybe just started a new category that the industry analysts can track. It's called Enterprise Asset Management. So just like we got Enterprise IT Service Management here. So wow, that's quite interesting. I wasn't aware of that. Another question, how well does ITIL support all of this? Does it really support and align with the non-IT use cases? And it sounds like it does if you're using the service desk pretty much as is, but any comments on ITIL and how it fits in with all this?
I did say in my presentation that, I mean, we subscribe to sort of the best practice of ITIL, and I think we've always been very realistic when we made that decision a few years ago that we would take from best practices what best suits our organization. We probably on incident and problem, we sit at the maturity of about 3.5 when we were last assessed, I think, in September, and we don't have any plans to sort of get ourselves, to a higher maturity level than that. What we have works for our organization. And I think, having said that, within CA services, we've always found that our needs were fulfilled, and that whatever best practice was prescribing out there, we could find sort of the automation of that was present within the tool. We're actually very excited to be playing around with the next version now. We're probably going to do that upgrade in after the festive trading period. But from an ITIL point of view, I mean, we've always really just taken what we thought was relevant for our organization. But in the audits, on our annual audits we do, we're always coming up with an average of about 3.5, 3.6. Somewhere around there, and never really had to have the ITIL conversation, if I can put it that way, with CA Service Desk. That's, I think it's one of the things that kind of go without saying. So we're happy with the tool.
Great, great. Let's see, a couple other questions and we'll wrap up here. Everybody please enter your questions in the Q&A tab if you want to add your questions. Let's see, were there any different expectations from the different groups that you rolled out? It sounded like the different areas of the business came to you and asked, to create to leverage the system. Were the expectations in terms of the user experience different? And I heard you say that I guess it was the distribution centers used the native UI, and then some others used the web UI. Were there any other types of expectations in terms of the user experience that the different organizations or different parts of the organization had beyond the standard dialogues?
Besides the standard UI?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think from our businesses, okay, I think the best way to answer that question is this way. We've got a very peculiar business in that our business looks to IT to solve business problems, sometimes not with IT solutions. So what they're looking to IT for is they're prescribing to a way of thinking. So they'll be encountered with a business problem, and then at a point in time they will realize that to resolve this problem we need an IT way of thinking. And our business often presents us with those type of problems. And we take on these problems and we give them solutions to the problems, or we will give them technical solutions to the problems, either way. This was one of those scenarios where the business's only expectation was what they wanted as an outcome. So there was no prescription from them in terms of how they wanted this thing to look and how they needed it to feel. They came to us with a problem, and the expectation was they wanted a specific outcome. So, and hence I said early on that it was so easy to switch this on for our business because they were very happy with using the user interface that we presented to them. I have to say we have a very simple web interface. I mean, we have, if I may say so, we have dumbed that thing down to an extent that you literally need to know who you are, where you are, and what's the description of your problem. And then we sort of autofill everything else after that, and once it gets to our help desk, we sort of just categorize the call. So we've made it so easy. It's really, incident management or incident logging for dummies. And I say that with the utmost respect to the non-IT people, but we've made it so easy for them. And I think that was the only requirement, that it just be something that is simple for them to do, something that's easy for them to do, and that would be convenient for them to do. But no real expectations from our business in terms of what the UI must look like, what it must feel like. It was really just coming to IT, presenting IT with a business problem, and then where the outcome was as simple as this is the solution that we're looking for. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, no, it does, and I guess the question I'm going to add my own question here in terms of the value. If I step back and look at this, you're leveraging existing technology, you're increasing the use of it into other areas addressing specific business problems, so you're delivering value to the business without really procuring any additional licensing or software on the back end. So, I mean, this whole idea of using the technology outside of IT, has this helped, the IT organization or your organization increase the value of your organization, your reputation, while providing the business with more value? It seems like a win-win all the way around here, and it's not costing a lot more.
Absolutely. Our business really sees us as a strategic partner. So it's not they don't see us as an order taker or value partners. It's really about strategic partnership. They are mature enough to let us decide on what the platform is going to be. So they present us with the business problem, and they work hand in hand with us in terms of defining what the solution needs to do. So if you look at it from a requirements point of view, but really the platform is IT's decision. We had a problem, I think, a few years ago with shadow IT, Yeah, I think where we are. It's added immense value. It's given us. I think it's given us brownie points. I'd say definitely. And especially in the terms of us, being the strategic partner, having a seat at the table. It's given me a problem. It's given me a problem. I just want to speak about that. Is that I can't switch this thing off.
We don't want you to.
Yeah, it's like the amount of so in our organization, and I'm sure in most organizations, the whole throwing the baby out of the bathwater, where your solution needs to, you don't want your solution to be bigger than your problem. You don't want your solution to be more expensive than the value that you're going to get at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
If we look at strategically, if Woolworths were to if we were to decide, let's go out to market and see what else there is in tools. If I look at the effort required to replace this tool, it's not worth my while to look at what else is out there. That's my personal view on this, and I'm sort of it's my decision at the end of the day. I'm heading up operations and service. The amount of work that I'm going to have to do just to gather requirements and document all of the processes that Service Desk is automating, and especially at the impact level, the impact to the business of what this application is doing, and the risk involved with switching it off, and the impact in it not working properly. It's something that I wouldn't want to do. It's inviting unnecessary problems in my life. I cannot switch this thing off. I would rather just upgrade it and continue working with the business.
Right. Yep.
And that is my non-Woolworths, my personal view. That's where I am personally, and this is the sentiment that I share with my team and with my CIO as well. And the things, it's one of those, I suppose from, in IT, when IT works, there's nothing from the business. The moment it doesn't work, there's noise from the business. But at this point in time, this is one of our most stable applications. It actually never goes down.
Excellent.
Yeah. It never goes down. It's tracking 100% SLA for the last 2.5 years.
Wow. Well, I'm going to end it with one final question, and that is, where do you go from here? I mean, you guys, as I said, I've been impressed with your organization since that first CA World where you spoke. That was 3 years ago, I think, and it's, as we look at this ESM stuff, it's even more impressive. And where do you go from here? Do you look at any actual, customer-facing application of it, to your retail customers, or does it stay internal and address non-IT issues, or, do you see more usage there, or is this the end, and, where do things go, I guess?
No, I think if I look at my operating plan and sort of what we plan strategically for the next 3 years, there's 3 key things that I want to do. Well, I want to upgrade it to the next version, and that's going to happen sort of early in 2019. And we've started the work on that. We started playing around with it, and it's a big change coming in the new version for us, which is, I think, is version 17. The look and feel has changed. I've had a look, and I've been very impressed with it in terms of what it, how it looks, how it feels, and all of that. So we're going to upgrade, and then on the back of that, I really want to get into the mobility aspect of it. Because we've got 400 locations, about 500 locations, where 600 in Africa. We've got a lot of engineers on the road that are servicing those stores and resolving issues. The mobile facility will give them the ability to log incidents, update incidents, close incidents, log changes, sort of from a smartphone. So I really want to push the mobility agenda, but I'm going to do that post the upgrade. So that would be from, I've got that in my operating plan for July 2019. Then also, quite interestingly, For July 2019, so can I tell you what my end in mind is on sort of a change in release? When we approve a change in service desk, so when you click that approve button, so this is the end in mind, automatically through ARA, release automation, is to run our releases. So we've been playing around with that already, and we've seen some good results. We've taken the ARA tool and we've integrated it with Microsoft Team Foundation Server, with Jira, a couple of other tools. So we, in one of our application areas, we are running full-on release automation. So we're busy scaling that or sort of rolling that out to our other application areas. And we've integrated with, on the current version with CS Services as well, the ability to click approve on a change, which then automatically at the time will, through ARA, do your actual release, your software release. So that is my end in mind for our financial year, runs July to June. So that's on my operating plan for not the current one, for end of the following financial year. So I'm hoping to achieve that, to get that working end-to-end across our in all of our application environments by, that's 2020. So July 2020. That's my end in mind.
Excellent. Wow.
I think worst case scenario, I'm going to add a year to that, but I'm not going to be strict about it because I think it's the concept that we've proven the concept can work. It gives us an amazing advantage in terms of DevOps, and once you've got DevOps working, Agile becomes much easier. And once you get this Agile way of working ingrained, and you've got all of the automation that's supported in the back end, I think that for me, I believe that's a ticket to the game for where digital is concerned. You can't be pursuing a digital roadmap today if you don't have DevOps and you don't have Agile ways of working. So yeah, so that's that's my plan for the next 2.5 years.
Excellent, excellent. That's very much aligned with our thinking that besides enterprise service management rolling out into non-IT use cases to get more value, the integration aspects, integrating deeper into the app dev, into the IT operations environments, and making these systems more integrated and processes more seamless. It just there's your added value and increased maturity as far as I'm concerned. So very much aligned with our thinking. So. And
I think in the last few months, really, well, last year, 2 years, I've developed very strong views on this. In that when you are pursuing Agile as a way of working as an IT organization, you actually need to be more structured. Your base foundational fundamental things like referencing source code, for example. I can think of one thing. Really need to be in place. Your CMDB needs to be in place. That's your ticket to the game in terms of being able to work Agile. Is that you need a strong foundation. If you want to do iterative releases once a day, twice a day, 3 times a day, our online platform wants to do multiple content updates every day. Your foundational elements from a process point of view need to be rock solid. It needs to be second nature to your teams, and so and I think then when you put the tools with sort of the software on top of that, and you start integrating it, that's sort of where the value add comes in. I mean, you can really cut down months of work into days, maybe even hours of work. So yeah, so that's on my 2-year plan. In fact, had I initially when we spoke in the beginning of the year, that was the topic that I wanted to speak on at CA World.
Yes.
It was what we were doing with CS Services and release automation. At that point in time, it was just a POC. It was a proof of concept, and it's matured quite a bit from then onwards. And I wouldn't say we're taking baby steps. We're making very good, steady progress on it. And it's just about how quickly our business can release funds for us to roll this out now.
Excellent. Well, maybe we can have you back in a future webcast, maybe 3, 4, or 5 months down the road, and talk about that, since that is a very good topic. Yeah, that's a great topic.
It's actually become, like I said, I've built some very strong views on it and become very opinionated on it, but it's I think it's something that I've also become, I think, quite passionate about.
Yeah, well, that's what the community...
And problems, those things will work. Those things will always work.
Yeah. Well, that's what the community is all about here. We want everybody to share their ideas and thoughts, and even if they are very strong thoughts. So, but you guys have had amazing success there at Woolworths, and kudos to you and your teams. And you know, Qaneet, we really appreciate you speaking. Is there anything you want to close out with, or have you exhausted your... I'm sure you're not exhausted, but anything else you want to say before we adjourn?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think the key to success for us on this was really establishing with our business that when it comes to incident management in a general sense, not from an IT sense, in a general sense, like in your plumbing not working is also an incident. We were the experts in terms of how we manage that, or how that can be managed and getting it resolved. And after that, it was just about getting everybody on board and getting everyone sort of to buy into the process. And I think once so what I'm actually saying is we actually established from an IT point of view on our business our dominance in terms of being subject matter experts on incident management. And once they bought into that, and once we switched it onto that, it was problem management wasn't the issue, and the whole change management those things just flowed naturally. To the extent that some of our business departments cannot actually function without this tool, which is scary, but it's a good thing.
It's
I'm all about, as IT, we need to assert our dominance. We need to claim our place by the seat, our seat at the table. We need to claim our seat at the table, become a strategic partner with the business. Because there's a lot of business problems we can resolve. It doesn't always have to be about ones and zeros and bits and bytes. We hold the IP, the technical IP and the logical IP in terms of fixing many business problems. And I think that's how you kind of get your seat at the table and become a strategic partner to your business.
Well, it's all about, producing business outcomes, and you guys have obviously done that and forged that relationship. So, again, congratulations, and thank you so much for sharing this all with us. I want to thank you. I want to thank all the folks that attended today's webcast, and watch for a discussion or a blog from me on the community. This is Alan Haupt with CA Marketing again. I'll be announcing the October 10th Pink Elephant. George Spalding, who's one of the top speakers there, will be talking about enterprise service management and what's happening in the market, to give you some background and credence to what we're talking about here. And this is all about giving you a means to provide additional value to your organizations from your existing investments. And I think you've seen how Woolworths did that here, and I think everybody's capable of doing that. So hopefully everybody's getting something out of this and some ideas. So thank you, and hopefully we'll see you on the 10th, and then we'll be back to the series of community webcasts with other customers presenting their use cases, non-IT use cases as well, probably for the next 3, 4, maybe 5 months. So thank you very much. Thank you, Qaneet. Thank you, attendees, and that will end today's webcast. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks a lot, Alan. Keep well.